Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another bonus episode of Let's Talk But No Politics, okay? Here on the Helium Radio Network. I'm your host, Andrew Lenz. And before we get into today's episode, let me just tell you once again about our very proud to have the Podcast Precinct. Once again, I can't ever say it enough, as our sponsor for every bonus episode. Podcast Precinct is located in North Tonawanda, New York. So if you're in the Western New York area, you're thinking about starting a podcast, wanting to start a podcast, but not quite sure how to do it, not quite sure you want to spend the money on equipment, the Podcast Precinct can give you everything you need for a low price, for recording of $20 a month per person. So it is very low. There are 2 recording areas. There is one if you want to go right into a nice studio setting, aka the Pod Cave, as we call it at the Podcast Precinct. You could go in there. It is professionally soundproofed and everything is wonderful. Say you want a nice relaxing atmosphere and you talk to your co-host or your guest in a nice relaxing atmosphere, you can record right on couches in a nice clean environment for everything that you need. So the Podcast Precinct is located in North Tonawanda, New York, and if you're in the Western New York area, please go check them out if you're thinking about starting a podcast. And you will get right on to a network, the bicbp Radio Network, or as we call it, the network. So please go check them out. Podcast Precinct. Consistency, creativity, and culture. All right. So going back in the ranking and tiering, I recently watched, kind of on a whim, every single Nightmare on Elm Street. I've already seen Freddy versus Jason from before, so I'm not doing the reboot. Or the remake. I'm only doing Nightmare on Elm Street, Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, Nightmare on Elm Street 4. They get kind of another dream one that is Dream Warrior. I want to say Nightmare on Elm Street 5 is Dream Child. Nightmare on Elm Street 6 is Freddy's Dead. Nightmare on Elm Street 7, I guess you could say, is Wes Craven's New Nightmare. And then I'm going to throw in Freddy versus Jason into it for just fun there. And this is pretty much everyone with Robert Englund. So if he was not in one, I am not putting it up here. And I'm just going to go in order of every single one. Let me find out what is number 4. Nightmare on Elm Street 4. I'm not even sure. The Nightmare on Elm Street 4, but I watched all these. I don't know why. I think I was debating on between, let's see, Friday the 13th and Halloween, and there's so many movies in those, so I was like, I don't want to do all that. So I was like, I'm just going to go Nightmare on Elm Street. Very simple. Kind of always liked Freddy more than the other ones. Oh, I'm sorry. The Dream Master. The whole Dream thing kicks in at 3. So we got Nightmare on Elm Street. Let me just reiterate. Nightmare on Elm Street. A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master. 5 is Dream Child. And then, so Freddy's Dead, New Nightmare. And so, like, I was getting back into it. I'm all over the place. Sorry. I wanted to Well, I wanted to watch some horror movies and a horror movie, franchise. I'm not a big horror movie fan. I've seen a good majority of the Halloweens. I've seen some Friday the 13th. Uh, but that was more as a kid, like I said in last episode. That was more as a kid. This was me as an adult going back to rewatching it, and I think it's always fun to go back and rewatch things as an adult and take it into a more adult mindset. As a friend of mine, Christopher Chavez, he co-hosts Silence Your Phones on the bicbp radio network. We look at things in rose-colored glasses, and from our childhood, and sometimes it's fun to go back and as an adult. I've done it with Mom and Dad Saves the World and my main episodes. You can go check that out. It was in a movie review I did with my son, and it just was good to go back and look at it not through that nostalgic value. And that's what I did here. Was I'm an adult. I'm not as freaked out over these movies as I was as a kid. So I want to see what I think about them. What I think about them now and everything else is plus as a movie, and it's very hard because my friend Dave and I got into this argument, and he tells me you got to clear your mind. Don't look at it as a movie. You got to look at it what type of movie it is. But I enjoy movies so much that I need something. I need something in there. So here we go with the Nightmare on Elm Street tiering ranking, whatever you want to call it. So I have 4 categories. The best. These are the ones that I thought were the best. Like I got done watching it and I was like, wow, these are good, kind of good movies. A little bit of story in there as well. So I'm gonna go. That is what the best is. Good is like, yeah, it wasn't bad. I probably wouldn't rewatch it, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. Dude with a question mark is like, come on. Come on. And then you could do better means like, just get rid of that out of the whole entire franchise. So let's kick this off with the first one. The first Nightmare on Elm Street is our introduction into Freddy. We have Freddy attacking the dreams. I just watched Hellraiser, so I want to keep on saying Christy, but that's not her name. But he's going through attacking the dreams. The mother's not believing it. The father's not believing it. And then finally, there's spoilers. Sorry, there will be spoilers. The mother tells the story about Fred Krueger. This is the other thing I picked up on, is he wasn't known as Fred Krueger yet. About Fred Krueger, who was a child murderer, and he got off on a technicality, so parents took things into their own hands. I'm pretty sure if you're a fan of the franchise, you already know this. So this one, I'm going to say is the best. It's the first one. I think it helps set the tone for the franchise and what you kind of expect out of them. That's what I think. He's not too overblown or comical so much in these. He's more straight for the kill, straight to the point, and everything else. So this one I definitely got to say is in there in the best because of just the whole story behind everything. It's simple, it's to the point. Would I've liked to seen a little bit more? Yeah. Johnny Depp's in it, so why not put it as the best, even though he dies? It's just very cool. I think the special effects in this were very interesting. One point where I believe his name is Rod, he's in He's in jail because they think he's the one that killed Tina, but it wasn't. It was Freddy in the dreams. And Freddy goes after him with the way that the sheet wraps around his neck and and hangs him is very good. I like this one a lot. Nightmare on Elm Street 2. This is where we get the boy Jesse. He moves into the house because Nancy is gone. Nancy's mother is psycho, everything else. I want to go back to the first one. The ending was pretty cool too, how they kind of left it open. And then number 2, I feel it was okay. There's parts where I'm not quite sure what was going on. The dogs with the baby faces or something going on there. That's just some high class 80 technology. It's like dogs with baby masks, but so like I said, in this one, Jesse and his family moves in. Jesse is trying to, or Fred, he's still Fred in these two. Fred is trying to get back to the real world so he can finish his task of going after all the Elm Street kids. And then he's coming through Jesse. And at the end, the girl kisses Jesse to break the curse on Freddy as Jesse has become Freddy. I kind of like the story, but it wasn't the best. It was kind of cool how they brought him back, like he needed something. Dream Warriors. This is our return to Nancy. Nancy comes back in, and group of kids, Elm Street kids. They find out that these are the last of the Elm Street kids, and Freddy wants to attack them. I'm gonna put it in the best. Just because of the way that they go, oh, well, in my dreams, I'm strong. In my dreams, I'm a wizard. In my dreams, I'm this. In my dreams, I'm that. So they're kind of using their dreams to try and fight back at Freddy instead of just going at him. And this is the first one where you hear the iconic Freddy Krueger. First 2, he's just known as Fred Krueger. I gotta say it's up there. It was a lot of fun. It was fun. Good music. The story of them actually saying, you know what, let's fight back, let's get rid of this guy. And then you get more insight to how Freddy became Freddy when they talk about the ghost of the mother coming and saying that she was, I'm going to try and do this as PG as possible, PG-13 as possible, sexually assaulted by 100 maniacs as she was locked in a tower at an insane asylum, and she ended up having a kid, and that kid was Fred Krueger, or Freddy. So I'm going to say this was the best because you get a little bit of background and you get a little bit of more story, and it gives a new twist of let's actually fight back instead of like in the first one where it's more horror Home Alone and we got to pull Freddy into our real world to destroy him. Second one, he's comes back into the real world. This one isn't so much bring him into the real world, let's destroy him in the dreams. Nightmare on Elm Street 4, Dream Master. I didn't like this one at all. This was definitely one where I was drifting in and out. So the Patricia Arquette character from Dream Warriors, because she finds out that she can pull people into her dreams, she ends up dying real quick. She sends her powers to this girl Alice. This is very reminiscent of Jet Li's The One, where once it kind of gives me that feel where every time somebody dies, she gets like their power or what they're good at. Like her brother dies, Freddy kills her brother, so she becomes this karate master. She goes through She fights Freddy, um, and then Freddy gets torn apart at the end by all these souls. I I I just didn't like it. It didn't give me any more insight to why he is doing this. Plus, two at this one, all the Elm Street kids are dead. I do believe in this one. Yeah, all the Elm Street kids are pretty much dead. So why is he? He's now just killing to kill. And I understand it's a horror movie, it's a slasher type movie, but he's just killing to kill. We're kind of moving off the premise here. So Dream Child, I actually liked a little bit more too. I think it could have been done a little bit better, but I don't think it believes in the you can do better type platform. Uh, Gives you more insight because Alice has a baby and Freddy's using the dreams of the babies to get at the victims and to try and regenerate himself. But it gives you more insight. Actually, you know what? This one doesn't give you jack crap. It's the next one. So this one is another one where I like the idea, but it's still not that great. Like I can't even tell you the ending to this one. If I'm correct, I don't even know what the ending is to this one. You know what? I'm going to put this one in. You can do better because it's the next one. Like I said, I watched them all in a row. So Freddy's dead, and we find out this one gives you way more info. Because we find out Freddy had a daughter. We find out that he was put into like foster care, abused in foster care. I mean, we're finding out all this more background stuff. He was sadistic as a child. He choked out his wife in front of his daughter. And when they go back to the town in Ohio, there's no kids because Freddy's there, which gets a little over the top. The only reason why this gets into like the dude category, like come on, is because they go into the town and there's like nobody there. There's no kids, but yet there's still a teacher in the high school. Roseanne and Tom Arnold are in this one, and they're trying to take home the kids because he doesn't kill this kid, but he sends them from the dream world to the real world so he can bring his daughter there because he doesn't remember anything. It's just, it's not good. Not a fan. Was not it's better than 4 and 5 because it gives you backstory. That is the only reason why it beats out 4 and 5 because it gives you Freddy's dead, gives you more backstory. That is the only reason. Wes Craven's A New Nightmare. I'm going to put this. Where do I want to go with this? Is this one of the best? I'm going to put it because it's different than the other ones. This one, it's more set in reality based. So Nancy is actually the actor. Robert Englund, he plays Freddy Krueger in this, but Freddy Krueger is more of an entity. It's somebody that gets unlocked, and they have to go back and they have to play their roles to beat him. What is it? Her husband is a special effects artist. He gets killed by this entity. Her son is starting to get possessed by him. It is just whacked out. It's crazy, but it's different. So that's why I consider it one of the best ones because it's so different, and it's not the same old. Don't go to sleep. Freddy's gonna dream. You're gonna dream. Freddy's gonna kill you. It's very. It's different. It breaks the mold, but yet stays with that whole Freddy Krueger Nightmare on Elm Street theme. And then the final one is Freddy versus Jason. This one's hard because I know it should be in here, but I'm going to put it up there with the best, even though it does break some rules. Kelly Rowland gets her nose chopped off in the dream, and it's supposed to be whatever happens to you in a dream happens to you in real life. But I think the ending's kind of cool because it doesn't really show, like I said, spoilers. It doesn't really show any definitive winner. You see Jason emerge from the water. He's holding Freddy's head and Freddy's eye winks. So it's like there could be more. I think they did best with when it came to the story. They did the best with what they could with the story. People on Elm Street, even though he already killed all the Elm Street kids, are starting to forget about Freddy. So he needs to resurrect Jason to go through on a killing spree. He gets mad at Jason because he's taking all of his victims. They fight. There's a very good balance. Freddy's stronger in the dream world, and Jason is stronger in real life. So it's a lot of great balance, I feel, between both of them and what they can and cannot do. And that's why I got to put it in one of the best. Because I think it's also one where if you didn't even see any of the movies, you could still get into it. So that concludes it with what I have right here. So my best are the first, Nightmare on Elm Street, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, Wes Craven's A New Nightmare, and then Freddy vs. Jason. Good, we have Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. Dude is Freddy's Dead. And You Could Do Better is Nightmare on Elm Street 4, Dream Master, and Nightmare on Elm Street 5, Dream Child. So that's the list. Tell me what you think. I'm going to post a video on YouTube. Let me know in the comments. Let me know anything else. And remember, you can catch new episodes of Let's Talk But No Politics Okay every Sunday on the BICBP Radio Network. That is bicbp-radio.com. You can also check me out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music. Go to the Facebook page. Great content there every single day. And also, please check out the YouTube channel as well. And with that being said, good morning, good afternoon, and good night.